Okay, so now we're going to take our forms here and we're going to make them into more interesting kinds of forms. We're going to make them into star destroyers. So we've got a three-point perspective view. We've got a worm's eye view looking up. So our eye level and our horizon line are disconnected now. So we're off the horizon line about 30, 40, maybe even 50 degrees. I'd have to measure it to be exact, but I don't really care. The point of this is that we're starting to tool around with three-point and learn to set up a little bit. And we'll really go over this in formal perspective, how to set these things up. And those are lectures that will go deep into the technical mechanics that I think any artist should know, because you're learning how to see. Here we're going to relax a little bit, have a little bit more fun with it, and it should always be fun, at least in my opinion. And we'll go for it. Okay, so let's go in here and start to make some of these forms a little bit more interesting and fun. So we're working with Star Wars Star Destroyers, and we're going to work all these, but we're not going to make them, some of these, very detailed. So the most detail will be around in the cone of vision point, which is kind of in through here. So I'll kind of sketch it. So it's roughly in this area from, let's see, okay, so yeah, from about right, maybe a little bit further out. So that's our cone of vision. So everything in here inside is actually, believe it or not, less distorted than everything outside our cone of vision. Just keep that in mind. So you get a lot of distortion out here, and you get some, what doesn't look like it, but you get a lot of distortion out through there as well. So keep that in mind as we're going through. It's kind of interesting to note that kind of what happens in perspective in the cone of vision. So let me kind of erase this out, and we'll get back to our layer here. So I'll just take all this off really quickly. So it's interesting. I think it's interesting, worth a little look-see where the most distortion happens and where the least distortion happens. The least distortion happens right where the center of vision and your eye level come together. Right in through there, your center point, right where those crosshairs truly emerge and come together. Okay, so we've got this all cleaned up. Now we can really kind of rock and roll with it. Let's go back to our brush. Okay, so let's jump in and make some forms. All right, so we've got these Star Destroyers, right? And we want to start maybe down below, down here. We'll make them pretty big. And we're just going to make these ones down here since they're kind of far away. We're going to make them kind of general. So I've got some images now popped up on the screen. I think I can take my layers off so we can get that out of the way a little bit, so you can see a little bit better. And these are essentially what? Big triangular wedges that float in space. They're like aircraft carriers in a way, and destroyers, and they're strong and powerful, but when it comes down to it, they're just simple kind of wedges. So let's work with that. So first thing I'll do is I'll start to find, I'm gonna work on this one, my centering X in through here. So there's my center point in through here. In perspective, we have to go to the vertical vanishing point up above a little bit. And I really don't need to find my center too much in through there. So the back of the Star Destroyer is kind of angled. It's pushed in a little bit, so it comes in kind of like to a point kind of in the middle, and then pushes out kind of like this. So I'm going to start this way, and I'm going to start this way coming in. There's our middle in through there, and then I'll go back to, here's our center point on the other side, right in through here. So if you've been watching these videos, you've been practicing, you probably start to know what to do. You can use mine as a guide, and then you can start to have fun and can start to build things off of your own. So we have that in there. Then it kind of comes up, and when I mean by up, I mean back to the vertical vanishing point, and it pushes in. So that's vertical, right in through there. Then it pushes in a little bit further, kind of right in through there, and then we'll go back to the right vanishing point, kind of in there. That's got some interesting stuff coming through in perspective, and then kind of down to the vertical vanishing point and kind of on through like so. and then it keeps on going downward like that. So we have that back end like that. We'll come down. So we want to get the basics of it first. This is important back in through here. Then that wedge tends to go, this point right in here tends to come on in a little bit, and I'll show you what we need to do with that. So let's build our center of our bottom. Maybe we should go one more big and see if we can see and pull that over a bit. No, probably not, but we can totally center it. There we go. All right, so let's find that center from crossing X of the bottom here, right, and over to there and to there. There's our center, right in through there. So as we go back to the right vanishing point through our center point, our center line, we could bring that one down too as well. It's going to wind up about right there. Okay, so there we go. So the reason why I do that, that's kind of where that wedge is starting to happen to, kind of right down there. We might even go up a little bit. We could say this could be transparent. We could look through there to be even more exact, something like that. This would come up, and we could say even that could even be headed towards that point. I'm actually going to head it a little bit to a feeling kind of that point as it gets tapered out and really gets kind of sawed off. It's kind of like a pizza wedge, isn't it? So I'm going to head off to that point there. So there's that middle point of our Star Destroyers, right? Kind of in there, and I'll make it, nice and darker. Okay, and then they kind of have an angle as they come down. Now here's kind of our center here. We're going way back to our left finishing point and through here. So these tend to kind of come down. And so it's going to get a little funky, but the other end of it right here, that point, we'll make it a little bit darker right there. That goes back to that point too in perspective. So we're going to kind of go lightly underneath and all over like that, right? Okay. Now from the ending point of our Star Destroyer right in there, that's kind of going to hang off and go to that center point too. It's kind of like a wedge. It all kind of wants to come to that, doesn't it? But then it starts to taper off a little bit, down and through and kind of over and through there. So, that's probably the beginning, kind of shape of it. It's really maybe a little bit more complex than maybe what you think it is, but it's kind of like that. Now I'm going to go in here just a little bit. We'll dig in. And we'll say, okay, let me bring it over a little bit. I'll take my nib down a little bit. For some reason, my Wacom pen doesn't want to work when I do my scaling in there. It's weird. Every machine gets a little weird at times, doesn't it? Okay. So we have that. Now what we can do is kind of play around a little bit with the structure. So it's got a little bit of an extra bridge coming up in through here, so it kind of comes down, ankles down. I'm just going to take that back to the vanishing point, right vanishing point and through here, and those kind of come on down out further, just sketching and guesstimating. And I'm just going to angle this back on down and on in, and there's another line that demarcates more information here. And then kind of come on in like that, and kind of come on down, and kind of come on in like so. There we go. These little angles supposedly go back to the 3-point. They're so tight in there, right in through here, and we get some of that flavor on that. It will take a little bit more coming down. This gets a little bit more angled in through there. So they're not that, that complex or complicated. So we're going to keep them very simple until we get bigger forms we can wedge out a little bit further. Now, they do have a kind of a firing mechanism in the back here. So I'm going to take some wedge guides for the heck of it. You can use not wedge guides, but ellipse guides if you want, and put some ellipses in there, kind of line them up. Just make sure your perspective is fairly close. I'm not going to count off if you don't. If they're not perfect, it's okay. So maybe about right in through here with the next one, maybe a little bit a little bit smaller, and so I'll kind of just sketch them in and then get them back into perspective how I want. These are pretty powerful propulsion engines, obviously. Through here we'd see a little bit more of that side, and then I'm just basing it off of this axis coming on through here. Let me move this over and center a little bit, and then we'll get our last one. Let me line up an ellipse and see what happens, and just kind of sketch it out a little bit, put it through in 3 points so it's down a little bit further. Here's a guide right there. That line right there is a guide for my guiding line right in through there. We have that right in through there. Then it has some detail. We can go into a little extra detail, and through here it's kind of got some angled things in here, and these are just kind of sketch line. Keep it really sketchy and loose. It seems like it's tight, but trust me, we could be really so much tighter. But I don't really want to go there. We could spend all day on just one, and then tighten it up and put it in the computer, and that's not as fun as just sketching for now. Keep it loose, and there's some more kind of detail back in through here, and we'll bring these over like so. Just using a vertical guide through my vertical vanishing point, which is up above and through there. Some other things that are going on, just more details. I just take the drawings or the photographs from the Star Destroyer that I see, and I just use that to help me out with my composition a little bit. Okay, so let's pull out a little bit so we can see it. So we got our first one there. It's looking pretty decent, I suppose. Okay. Then I might tighten up the edge, this edge right here, make it a little darker, so we can really kind of see it come out, come together. Tighten it up. So we have our first one on the side, and then they've got all kinds of little things that come out, maybe at about right in through here, this angle. Let me go in again. We can do maybe further. We can do a little more here. Something like that, but then it's got that little, this, what they call an ionization reactor right in through here. I'll put that in, which is kind of cool looking, and some just gadgets and stuff. Remember, we're pretty far away, so I'm not going to get into a lot of heavy detail. Make this maybe a little thick. We just want to get the idea. We want to use perspective to help us guide our ships and location, and make this, work out in a nice sketch. So I'm going to erase right in through these lines, right in through here. Clean this up because I need to, so you can see that. Clean it up a bit. So I'm in layers. I've got a layer on for the ships, which helps. Right in through there. I'll take this out a little bit with my eraser. Okay, right through there. Very nice. You can see it a little cleaner. Clean is always good, mostly. So get a little bit more detail maybe coming down and through there. And we'll tighten up a bit to here. And I think we've got it. We've got enough information for what we need. I'm going to go a little bit tighter, or in a little bit more, bring it over, and then take my eraser and go a little bit, let's say from 94 over to about half of that, just to get this tighter in through here, my edge, so you can really see that. Maybe we'll take that off a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's go back to our brush and go back in. Okay, there's our first one. So let's move on to our second one, which will probably look a lot like the first one that we just did. So it'll be a little bit easier. And so I think also what might be fun is to have some of these going one way, some of these going other way. Maybe they're in some kind of convoy or zone where there's a crossroads. Not really a crossroads, but a point, station point, where they're just moving and interacting and going in one direction and out the other direction. They're not in some kind of battle right now, so it's blissfully peaceful for the evil empire, right? Okay, so let's move up and over. So let's get another one here. We'll make it big so you can really see that. I think that will help. Okay, let's go on to our brush here. Very good. You know, I get every now and then I get some suggestions for instructional videos, and I get a lot of complimentary thank yous out there, and I really appreciate that from all the public. Certainly my students, but other international students as well. I really appreciate that. But if you ever have any ideas for a video you'd like to see, let me know. Sometimes I've covered them already. Take a look at some of the other videos. There might be something in there that I've already covered. You just haven't realized it yet. But if there's something that you'd like to see or like to have, I'd certainly be honored to do it for you if I can. I'm pretty busy. I have a professional career, you know, in addition to my teaching work, so I'm pretty busy. So I'm finding my center point here, drawing through, and then we're going to make that triangular back here, right, coming through. But I do like doing this YouTube channel, the Drawing Database, for public service, for our region and for high schools and for anybody else, retirees or whomever you are, you're important, and I will certainly look to help out. So I'm going to bring up that back end a little bit. Now that's straight, okay, because it's a 3-point. So the actual bridge part of this thing is actually tilted even further as a natural incline in. So I've got to push that even a little bit further in. I know that looks a little bit odd and awkward. So I'm going to bring this up nice and high enough in through there. Okay, to there, to there, and to there. Okay, now I'm going to go back and find, you know, where my center point would be, where I would end it. Now here's the ending edge. I'm just going to sketch this out. This comes in and over. Okay, that's why we need to draw see-through a lot of times. Why? So we know where to end things. So the true center is where this crosses, about right there. I'll put a dot there. That's where I've got to head my tapered wedge to. These are like pizza slices. So that works there, comes through. Make this dark since the leading edge here. A bit darker all the way through. And these get tapered down and kind of in the middle. It's difficult, and then they come over like a wedge. It's that triangular shape really is interesting. So I'm kind of mimicking. So what I'm saying is I'm mimicking that line way over here to about right there. I feel like is good, and then I want to wedge this in all the way up and over to there. There we go, like so. Okay, and then I might see a little up at the top, which would be good, right? Maybe through there, which is kind of it's so slight, but I'm going to bring it in just so we can see a little bit of the top of that part of the destroyer right in through there. I think we've got it. Okay, so let's get a little bit else going. So I'm finding it from the center. We can kind of I'm going to put a triangular guideline. Watch this. I'm just going to put this angle for sketching. That's the kind of overall shape that I want. Then I'm going to start to work this out. This seems a little bit thick to me, so I'm going to take I think I've got to take my eraser now, and we're just going to take that out a little bit here. Take it out, down a little bit. Let's go back. There we go. Let's go back again. So this needs to be angled a little bit. Okay, and through, and then back to the left finishing point, and through there. Then those can shoot down. Now it's got like a little fin thing, or little side things that come out of it. So we'll go like this and out. They have that kind of thing going on, and then let's go back to the vertical vanishing point here and here, then back over, right, and then back to the right, like so a little bit, kind of tapered in through here. We'll just sketch that up and through, down over, bring that back in, quick sketching it in through here. Okay, and this is kind of thicker in through there. We have that, So you have to be able to take multiple views, and you may not have a photograph of the view you need, and you have to be able to imagine forms around, and perspective helps. It helps you so much. It's such an important tool, very important kind of tool. This gets a little smaller, these get a little wider, so we'll make that look a little bit more accurate to the top and through there. It's got a little stuff going on. Sometimes I'll just make it look, some lines make it look thick. And through here some sketching over. Okay, right and through there, we'll come down. Alright, so I may take my ellipse guide and find some cool ellipses to help me out a little bit. Sometimes they're not exact or completely accurate, and I just start to sketch it in like that. That was with an ellipse guide, then I start to change how I want it. Okay. Here's my construction line for where I want them to be. There's 3 of them. Throw that one in there, throw that one in there. It's a nice quick sketch. We've got some things going on there. Things going on through there. Okay, so I got my boosters kind of set in my composition. Okay, like so. Okay, so let's get some of that material on the side and in through here, so it kind of comes down now. A little bit better view of it here. These kind of come down a little bit, kind of like that, and they kind of come off. There's some things that look kind of like that. And then these, let's go back. We're looking at a couple of different views here. So I would suggest, you can see what I have, but I don't want to put everything up here. It would clog up. If you'll Google Star Destroyer and get 5 or 6 really good reference materials, you can use this and do this out of your head. So now I'm going to come over. I'm shooting for my center point all the way over and in through, kind of on down where these come through, like in through here, and then there's one that kind of comes down, skirts in, and I'm just going back to that center point where I cooked everything to, or hit everything to, drove everything to. I'll get the right words right here in a minute. So this might come down, these might come down, and flap over a little bit, kind of like that. Okay. So I'm just kind of connecting up, and then there's one that extends over here a little bit, and kind of comes down the other way. So they're not at the vertical. They do a little bit something different like that. Come over a little bit, and down through. Okay. So we've got enough information to make this work. I'll start to darken this in a little bit where we need it. We can see it. It's important. Something up here. I'm just adding little details and things just to give it a little bit of jazz. Okay. Then we'll put that same kind of ion thing about right in through here. Roughly right in through here, and maybe some cool little marks to give it a little bit of extra weight, or just enough interest to hold us a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more in through here, a little bit darker maybe some bumps, just to say that there's stuff there, but we're so far away we don't really can't read it, but we see it blurry. So hopefully through all this, those of you that are in drawing communities or out away from our university, that you're not obligated to do lessons, that you're getting interested and you want to go deeper into perspective, formal perspective. It's something that all artists should study, sculptors, photographers. It's how we see the world, and people think there's a degree of such strong arbitrariness it makes the world look artificial. No, it's how you use it, and we're going to go deeper into that. You don't have to use all this distortion if you don't want, because perspective handles it without the distortion. So keep that in mind. I want to go into a big spiel. Okay, there we go. Now we're pretty far away, so that's a lot of detail for even far away. So I think that's working out pretty good. So I'm going to do a few more, and then what we'll do is, again, to save some time, because these could get really long, and I'm just going to work my way up. And this will be about as much detail. We'll start to get more detail in through here as these are a little closer to us, but also in our center of vision point. There's our viewpoint right there, right dead square in the middle. Right there, that's where our eyeballs are at. Truly, and here's our eye level. And everything we get outside of that starts to get a little bit, would theoretically get more distorted, more blurry. But this is where all the detail will be, right in through this area. Okay? And then as we go up further, we're going to be less and less detailed with our Star Destroyers. All right, so let's keep on going here. Okay, so now we're going to work on the next two coming up, and we're going to push them in a different direction. We're going to make them come towards us instead of looking and going away from us. I think that'll be hopefully an interesting view too as well. So let's see what we can do with that. So first of all, we need to do what? We need to find our centering axis a little bit. We need to come on through and let's see. Okay, there we go. Do that. So we'll pull these up a little bit in our view so you can see that. So there we go. That's a pretty good size. So let's do a couple things. Let's find our centering axis really quickly. Help us out. Whoops. Let's go back in there. There to there. And remember cross. So there's our center there. Okay, there's our center there. And up to the vertical vanishing point we go right there. And let's find the back of the center of the back here. We need that. So through here. Okay. Gotta have that coming over, and we gotta feel our way through, probably about right in through there. There it is. Looks like it'd be hidden just a little bit, or maybe it comes down, maybe right in through there, and then we come over. Yeah, there we are. Okay, sorry about that. There and there. Okay, so we have that. We could find our centering X and through here, like so. All right, so this is going to be the front now. This point right there is going to be the front of the Star Destroyer. So we can see that coming through, kind of like a pizza wedge. And so it's at its widest at the center on the wings at about right. I'm going to put an arrow so you can see it about right over here. I'm just going to guesstimate right in through there for the time's sake. And I'm going to bring that line over right in through here and go back to the left vanishing point right there on the other side. We might not even see it. So here's what I'm thinking, right? From here to that point to this point, that's where we get our new wedge. So let's see how that works out. So we're coming over here. Okay, and through here. So there we go. Right in through there. There's our wedge over. Okay, and we do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so from here, it's all the way full. On the other side, it's basically a big kind of pizza wedge. Now, it does go back a little bit. Instead of just coming over like that, these things kind of go back a little bit. So I'm going to just kind of feel my way through that in perspective. Kind of feel my way through, kind of like that, maybe down so it touches, because we had that before, right? So we have that in through here. And then that goes back over to there. Okay, so we have that. All right, so we have that going through there. Here's kind of that center point of it. So this would actually go up to our center here. Go through and all the way over to there. There we go. Make that nice and through. And then this would connect up back to the other side of our pizza wedge. Right in through there. So Star Destroyers are like pizza wedges. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. Pepperoni and pineapple and bacon and just a good old cheese, right? And a Star Destroyer. Yeah, I know that sounds pretty silly. Okay, so if we go up here to the vertical and we connect this point up, we wouldn't see anything. I'm just going to do that anyway because kind of know where we're at, because there's our true back. So our true back would come up a little bit here, right? And then it would angle. We just bring that angle in and over, kind of like this, okay, and kind of like that on down. And then so we could come in, so I'm just going to get a feel for how this would fit together all that information would come over like so. So we have that. Okay. These tend to be thicker here, so they have all kinds of little information things going on in this middle part of the, right in through here. You can see me draw now, so that tends to be a little thicker, and we'll come all the way through in through there. Make that a little darker. Kind of fill that in like so. Still not enough room to make any detail much. Right in through there. There we go. Okay, so we have that. So we can kind of come in and put some information up on our top and through here. That top kind of thing as it comes through its thickness in through here, kind of like that, and it goes down and connects. It'd connect over to our vertical vanishing point, kind of going back that way. Okay, so we'd have that. This would kind of come down, so that's how I'm reading it. It gets complex. There's a lot to think about. So I have that, and then so we'll find maybe the center of this, be right in through there. It's kind of a tower coming up in the back, and in the front it's got more information in through here, so it kind of comes up, and then it's got another kind of tower thing in through here. Okay, so we'll go back and over a little bit, kind of like that. And then they have the push that over like so. Let me do this. Let me erase that in through here. And on this side, let me go smaller with my nib. And here we go. A little bit better. And maybe over through here a little bit. Let me clean that up a little bit, and we'll go in deeper and over. There we go. So you're seeing how I work it. And work it, think it, rework it, think through it, change it as I need to. So these would kind of come out here. It'd look kind of like that up at the top, right? This would go just slightly back. These would come over. These would go slightly back like so. We'd see a little bit underneath it. And then we get a little bit of that top action in through here, a little bit more detail. We can just really just quick sketch a lot of that, so we get that feeling too of it. This would come forward like so, those bridges up and through there, okay, because they come down in through here, and then they kind of come off to the side. So they kind of come here and over and then off. So that looks something like that. So we can kind of come over. These are difficult. It's not easy, these wedges. And through here a little bit, maybe over and down a little bit. And then another one as it comes over, okay, and then downward, maybe more like, move the same angle, kind of like so. Just want to get a feel for it and a look for it. If I'm wrong, it's no big deal. It'll look mostly good because our basic structure is already set, and that's something to realize too. You don't have to be 100% completely accurate with these. I think that's worth mentioning. So we have that coming through here. All right, so that would push over, be like this. That would be on that side and through here, and then we would get these little booster type things at the top, coming down a little bit, like so. Just get a couple of straight lines going. Okay, and then this kind of angles in, down and over and in like so. All right, now we're starting to cook with gas a little bit. Okay, we've got that. Now underneath a little bit, we can put some gadgets and things, and so we can kind of put that ion port sort of maybe right in through here. Looks pretty cool to put it in through there. So it's an oval, putting an oval in through there, and it's got some things that move in these kinds of directions, right, and then back these kinds of directions. These are just mechanical, structural kinds of things. And I'm just sketching and feeling out their angles so we can start to move this over a little bit. So you can see that, like so. Kind of come in and through and over It's got a kind of a center port, like so, maybe a little bit into there. And just give a little bit more detail. Not a whole lot, we don't need a ton in through there. Okay, and over. All right. So this goes darker. I'm up on the bridge here. I'll just go darker into here. Up on the bridge, this goes down this way. So it comes in the middle, this goes down and over. And through a little bit and down through. There we go. Okay. So we've got that one. That's looking pretty good. In our drawing, remember that thing is about a mile long, so it's pretty dadgum big, really big, actually. So we have that, and maybe we could put, I'll put maybe just a little bit of shading on it. Maybe go wider with our nib, just so we can put a little, maybe just, yeah, about that, and keep the opacity low, so we can have a little bit of delineation here. I'm not getting into any major shading, I'm just kind of putting something down here. Right in through there, looks pretty fine for now. Looks good enough for now. Okay, so there we go. Let's back out a little bit and see what we're doing. Okay, I think we're doing pretty well. Look how much of that, what's interesting about all of these three so far, look how much of the form that we carved out of, right? So we had a lot of it. So later on, you'll be able to sketch even more specific to your forms. You won't have to go through all these steps. This is a really formal perspective exercise to get you to see very simple forms and how you can turn simple forms into much more complicated forms. And this works well with anything that you want to draw in court. And of course, perspective governs everything that we do so far. Okay, let's head on to another one. I think for composition's sake, I think I will skip the next one and we'll leave it as more space in between, and we'll do the next one, which will be this one. I'll point to it, which will be right there. I'll come back and I'll do that one. I'm going to take a break, but I'll come back and do that one right there. Okay. All right, so for the next one, I pulled in a little bit so you can kind of see that already. And we're gonna just wing this one really quickly. We're gonna do the next one here. It's this one right in here, right by our center of vision or center point and eye line. This one. So these two we're gonna make go forward. So we're gonna be pushing it. It's gonna be kind of like this one, okay? And so we're gonna use both of these too. Now it's hard to see all this because there's so much information, so we're just going to wing it a little bit. We already know what to do, and so we're just going to sketch and make it complete. So we know that we need to work our pizza wedge. So we're coming here, we find our center of vision right in through there, and we're just going to feel it this time coming back. Okay, so we're going to feel it coming this way. And I don't really know where I'm going to, and I don't care. I know I'm going to have an underneath center on that wedge too, about right in through, probably here, and then out to the back somewhere too as well, looking up really strongly underneath. And so we're going to play off that, a little bit more in our composition. So we're going to have it here. We're going to come back a little bit in through there and wing this through. And then this is going to pull back a little bit through here. So here we are about right in through there with the back of it. I think that's going to look pretty good. Now my center might be a little bit off, so I might adjust. Actually, I might erase that. So in through here, I've probably erased more in this lecture than I have in any lecture I've done. The 100 I've done or so, 105, whatever, so far. That's pretty cool. All right, so I guess, and whatever that means. All right, okay. So coming through here, right, coming down. So that's our bottom center right in through there. So our movement kind of comes up in through here. There's not too much to see kind of coming underneath, so we have to make it a little bit more exciting. So we'll put some detail through here and detail through there, right? And so it's going to get very much just triangular wedges coming all the way up and through. So we have that and through here. So let's see what we've got. We might have a little bit, some mechanical things coming out a little bit and through there. All right, so we have that. Make a little bit more of a point on it, and I think we've got what we need in through there. So let's pull out and take a look. Look how easy that was. So we have that one, you know, coming through there a little bit. Make that more coming together, I think, in through that way. So, you know, again, because of the thickness to that thing, we don't see a lot, you know, underneath it. Now I might have tilted it just a little bit, probably a little bit too much. Yeah, I'm going to take this. I don't like this line, so I'm going to bump up my eraser just a little bit more. So we'll go back and flatten that out a little bit. That's too much, so we have to be careful. Get too cocky in through here. So I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, go back. This will flatten here a little bit more, and we'll see the top maybe like in through here a little bit more. And that thickness through there, something kind of like that, right? And then we might see these beginning towers to kind of come up through. There it goes, up and through there a little bit. We might just see a little bit of that and through there, but we'll keep it pretty basic and triangular, right? Because it's kind of coming. All the good information is kind of in the back of it. We don't see a whole lot of it right in through there. Okay, so now we have just about a full view of the next one over here. So let's grab and move over, and then really come up in big in through here and see what we can make as well. So the first thing I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to fill out the box here, because I want to see it all, so we can make this one pretty super strong too. So I've got to go back to back to the left vanishing point, and then I want to go back to the vertical vanishing point, and it is about right there and over. So we have it here like so. Okay, so we're working it pretty good there. All right, so we want to find then our center point. So we'll come down here, come over, and we'll work across here, and we'll come down and come over right in through there. Now we can start to find that. So we can find our center point by crossing X and through here about right there, I'm guesstimating. So that will come in and down to here. So there's our center. I better tighten this up just a little bit with our pizza wedge. Okay, right in through there. So we can take that from the top center parts in through here. Remember, they come down a little bit. So we'll take our wedging and come into there, right to there, and over, back. We're looking for that wedge triangle right in through there. Okay. All right, so we have that. Okay, so let's look now about it coming out just a little bit, like so, right through there and over. Let me pull in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. I'll pull a little bit down. All right. In through here, in through there. Here we go. And over to here. All right, so we have it. Now here's our center right in through here, and we'll go back to our center point right in through there. So we're not going to get a whole lot of detail out of these, it looks like. So we're going to come down and through, and you won't see much of the tower coming through there. We might see a little gadget right in through here. Our solar area, our ion solar, is probably about right in through there. So these can stay pretty simple all the way kind of through, because we'll get less detail. You can make a few detailed lines coming through. All right, so let's pull out and take a look at what we have. All right, pretty cool. So we get another one coming through. So like flying, really simple, kind of flying wedges. And really the ultimate detail was, the one these two here closest to the center of vision. Even that one that's right in it, that one there, that's still. Let's pull back. Let's pull in one more, and then we'll pull it over. It's still hidden. All the good stuff is hidden, so I might actually do a little toning on it. Let me pull the nib out a little bit further. Not that much. And we'll take the opacity down to about 10, 12, and we'll just put a little tone on it so we can see it emerge in all this, like so. Okay, there we go. Kind of like there. Okay. And we have that working for us. Maybe we'll just kind of mark this one in. So they're getting even more simpler as we work through, right? So let's go out. Okay, we can start to see that. Maybe we can darken in this front one, this plane under here just a little bit, so that pulls the other one forward. Or it pulls the one I just drew on forward and the other one back a little bit. Okay, let's go on now to some more. Let's keep going up. Okay, so we're going to move our way up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do all of these except we'll take out, we won't fill in this one right there. Okay, so just FYI on that one. So I think I'll leave that one for compositional effect. All right, so we don't have that many more, and it's going to be, the views are going to be getting simpler and simpler because we're just looking underneath. So they're getting flatter and flatter because we have a lot of these views with not even 3 planes, but we're starting to get into two planes, which makes that even, a little bit easier to draw. All right, so we just have to be careful of where we're at, what we're drawing, and finish this out. Let's see if we can do that with this series. I'll try to do that in this series. Okay, so I'll go a little bit more opacity and through here, 24, 25-ish. Sounds pretty good. All right, so we're going to be working now so we're taking this one out, so we're going to be working on this one here. All right, so let's do the eraser. Let's take our eraser out. Or use our eraser and take this, and take this one out here and this arrow out so we know what we're doing. Just want to show you that. Be kind, right? Be courteous. All right, so we'll start up here. So I'm just going to guess there's my center point right there. I don't want to work with it. I don't want to mess with it anymore. I want to just get to it and get it quick and clean and nasty out in through here. So we're coming over. I'm thinking it's going to be about right here where it's coming down and in, so probably about right there. We'll see that push for our triangle. I'm thinking right here. Then I can bring this line over. This goes in the back because it comes in that divot we see kind of down and through there. Just winging it, feeling it through, and seeing what happens with our perspective. Okay, going back to the right vanishing point to there. Okay, there's the next one. Right to there, and then we're going to come out of the wedge, over to the left vanishing point, getting this edge over, just to get a feel for where I need to put this next wedge line right in through here, our pizza wedge. There we go. Okay, there and there. Coming through, looks pretty good through there. So we're really now looking way up underneath. We won't even see much of the side of this. I might do a little bit thicker side just to give it some dimensional kind of quality, but we're looking at, paper airplanes. If you know what those are, you're just drawing kind of paper airplanes. So we'll get that coming through a little bit. And that's really all we see. Now we might see that solar ionization panel right and through there, and it's almost getting to the point where it's getting to be, a true circle almost. We might even use an ellipse guide and do something kind of like that for effect, just because we can. Whoops, right in through there. We can use that to help guide us through. Okay, kind of like so. Now what I don't like, since we have this angle here, we better get another one we can see over here. So it's about right. It's really going to be tiny. I better go in and so you can see it. So I'm right here kind of on this point, right in through here. And I've got to come back out at this kind of angle to meet right there. And I want to show my on it, so I've got to show it kind of almost through everything, just so you'll see it right in through there. And that helps to see that coming through right in through there. There we go, right in through there. Okay, so I'll erase that out in through here, and then we'll back out a little bit and take a look. There we go. So yeah, right in through there. Whoops. Edit, step backwards. There we go. Let's get my pen right in through there. So we've got that coming through. Let's put a little tone on it. Let's go with our nib out a little bit. Maybe more than that. Maybe about right to about 50, 60. Sounds good. And just put a little bit of tone on it right in through here. A little darker than I wanted, but that's okay. Right in through there. Okay. Whoops. So now we can, whoop, didn't want that, so let's go back. Edit, step backwards. Okay. There we go. Right in through. Well, I gave me the wrong brush. That's okay. All right, so I can edit this out. Edit and cut. Okay, coming through here. Okay, so, and 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we're going to keep going up. We don't have too many left. We have, let's see, here we have about 4 left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're going to be simple, really simple triangles, and then we'll get out of here with this lesson. So let's go to about 9. Or so, looks pretty good, and we'll come up and let's work on all of these a little bit. So you just want to keep them casual, you want to keep them in perspective, and they're just mostly triangles. So right, boom, really quickly, right there I'll find my center of that one, find the center of that one, right in through there really quickly, crossing X, we know that, and we'll find it comes down to there, and this will angle out a little bit. This will angle out a little bit here, and then we'll bring our wedges over to there, and then to there. This one's a little narrow. I could widen it up and get out of it. You don't have to stay in the box. You can widen it as you need to. So we have that one there, right? We have the kind of effect of this solar ionization structure that we needed. It's really needed, isn't it, to give it a little bit of relief away from kind of true flatness. So we have that there. Kind of look how quick we can do that. So we've got that one. We'll do the same thing. This will come down and over and through here. This will come back. Let me pull out a little, or up and in and over, so you see how quick this can go. So we go back to our brush here, and excuse me, and here, into the middle. Here a little bit. I'll put that sketch together right in through there. Now we'll see a little bit more of this side, so I'll thicken it in just a little bit so we can see it. And a little detail right coming through, and then that solar ionization area right in through there. There we go. So there's another Star Destroyer. Look how quick you can make them now, especially when they're flatter and they're simpler. They're really not difficult, just really pizza wedges. So let's go out. And we've got a few more, so let's tackle this one here. Okay, coming up. Excuse me, I got a little tickle. Okay, so we're back here, and this, we'll find our center in through here, which comes down right through there, in through here. And we'll go back up a little bit here. And I'm just going to see through all this, back up a little bit, back up a little bit there. Then we're going to go to here, and here, and then through here, and then through here. There we go. And there's our center. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Just, well, we're pretty flat all the way through, aren't we? Yeah, we are. So a little bit of detail. A little bit of detail and through some of these areas in our solar radiation panel thing. Ovoid circular structure. And we're cooking. All right, so let's go in deep. And we've just got the one more behind it, so let's do that. Now let's make it go the other way so we can give. So we've given a lot going to the left. Now we'll go one more coming back, and then we'll finish it out. Okay. So let's pull in deeply here. There we go. And we'll try to find our centered areas about right in through here in perspective. So we're going back to, let me pull out one, going back to now the right, pull this up a little bit. Okay, here we go, and through. So our center feels pretty good in through here. This comes up, remember, right in through here like that, and this will come to our pizza wedge. We might see even a little bit more thickness now on this side. And we'll go down to our pizza wedge, ending about right there, right? And then we'll take this thickness with us a little bit, right through there, right through there, right through there. And then we'll come over from that point to the point of our pizza wedge, in through here. There we go. So we'll darken this in a little further, so we can really see it. Pop this over, and then I'll come up a little bit so you can see it. Now I'm going fast. You can slow me down if you're drawing with me, obviously. Whoops. That'll slow us down. Okay, take us for a ride. I always do that. All right. Everybody has their stupid tendencies. I do. There we go. So our solar radiation ionizer, whatever that means, through there. We have that through there. Okay, a little detail in through here, up and through. Okay. Maybe I'll darken this back in this plane. It's showing through here and here. A little bit there. Okay, so let's pull out. Let's take a look at what we've wrought, what I've put us through, and let's go from there. So let's pull out, take a look, and there we go. I think we've got, something really to work with. Okay, so we've come full circle. So we've gone, and so the lesson was to use three-point perspective now from the worm's eye view looking up. And so we have the horizon line, which is off the eye level, which we want. Now, looking out in space, there wouldn't be a horizon, so we could take the horizon away. You wouldn't see that, and so we would be maybe from another Star Destroyer looking up at others. And so we took these basic rectangular forms, and then we made more complex Star Destroyers from there, especially in the areas around our focal point, which is our center point of vision right in this particular area here in the middle. And, of course, there's a little bit more detail through them as well. Then you notice as they get further and further up, they become even more flatter and really more simpler and easier to draw, but yet they stay in perspective, and we get that sense of that, grandiose scale and kind of flying over that we get. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time, and there's another 3-point lesson for you, and we'll continue to go on further with more simple form perspective. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.